the Grenlec debates. Power, bright ideas.
These are the 2024 Grenlec debates. We are in the fourth round of competition, the semifinals. Following this round, we will know which of the remaining teams will be our finalists. I am Kunta Kinte Andal, former Grenlec debater, and your host for this, the second match of the semi-final round. Remember, these debates are impromptu. The students are given the broad theme to research prior to the match, then on match day, they randomly select their motions and are given 30 minutes to prepare their presentation, without assistance from their teachers or electronic channels. The research theme is Sustainable Development in the Caribbean. The theme for the round, Technology and Innovation. The areas of focus are economic empowerment through technology and sustainable transportation. This match is between Presentation Brothers College and Grenada Boys Secondary School. The motion is, be it resolved that e-commerce and online marketplaces are effective tools for empowering small businesses and reducing poverty in the Caribbean. For the proposition, Presentation Brothers College. For the opposition, Grenada Boys Secondary School.
In the words of the former president of South Africa and civil rights activist Nelson Mandela, communication technologies have transformed the way people live and the manner in which countries developed. Judges, chairmen, most learned opponents, and distinguished audience members, it is my pleasure to engage in this friendly discourse on the Moot. Be it resolved that e-commerce and online marketplaces are effective tools for empowering small businesses and reducing poverty in the Caribbean. As the first speaker of this most formidable relay team, I will lay out the foundational arguments to substantiate our stance and set the pace to be used in this debate. I will initiate our momentum with precision and vigor before passing the baton to our second speaker, who would advance our case with even greater eloquence and unassailable clarity. The following definitions are from the Oxford Students Dictionary. Tool, a thing for a particular purpose. Empower, to give someone the power or ability to do something. Reduce, to make something less. Effective, producing the effect that is wanted. And e-commerce is commerce and business conducted electronically on the internet. Developed countries are leading businesses around the world and already pursuing their transformation agenda. And they are putting appropriate policies and strategies in place. Our region must simply take a proactive stance and accelerate implementation of strategies which can position us to benefit from the opportunities of the fourth industrial revolution. In a world where the job market is becoming even more competitive, why must we wait to invest in an online sector that can boost our economy? Research by the Inter-American Development Bank found that investing 10% in telecommunications and e-commerce system in Latin America and the Caribbean can lead to a 2 to 3% increase in economic growth and a 2 to 6% increase in productivity. Income generation, gig economy, and freelance platforms like Upwork Fiber and TaxRabbit allow people to access global job markets and earn income remotely. Imagine how convenient it would be to stay at your home, get onto your laptop, and make money every hour. It baffles me that my opponents would even purport this stance in this ever-changing world. Let's not forget the agricultural sector. It's our wisest pursuit because it will, in the end, contribute most to real wealth, good morals, and happiness. Thomas Jefferson. A sector that has been constantly ignored and overlooked by past and current Caribbean governments. Imagine the additions of e-commerce and online marketing systems. Imagine the revenue generated for farmers and workers in the systems. My worthy opponents, I ask you, do you not feel sorry for farmers who struggle to make ends meet? Do you not feel sorry for the children who cannot go to school because of lack of funds and persons to sell the produce to? With our stance established and the first 100 meters completed, I leave the baton. I thank you.
Technology-driven entrepreneurship can foster a sense of disconnect in our society. As we become more reliant on digital interactions, we do this at the expense of our economic and social viability. The words of Dr. Andrew Spencer, senior economist at SGC Economics and Planning. Worthy opponents, esteemed judges, good afternoon all. We, the opposition, stand resolute, boldly denouncing the Moot. Be it resolved that e-commerce and online marketplaces are effective tools for empowering small businesses and reducing poverty in the Caribbean. In my role as the opening speaker, I will forge a strong foundation and illuminate the key tenets that guide our compelling argument through the point of market saturation. My second speaker will passionately bolster our argument by unveiling and emphasizing key implications that anchor our stance through the points of high initial cost and skills gap. According to the Merriam-Webster, e-commerce can be defined as the regulation of business transactions that occur electronically. Online marketplaces can be defined as a common area where business is conducted through the buying and selling of goods and services. Empowering means to inspire or equip someone or something to carry out a task. Effective means to be able to sustainably obtain a desired result. Poverty refers to the inability to meet one's economic needs. Esteemed judges, it is imperative for us to elucidate our discourse by interrogating the point of market saturation. Opponents, while the rapid rise of e-commerce and online marketplaces is undeniable, insinuating that they are effective tools for empowering small businesses and reducing poverty in the Caribbean is simply unrealistic. Esteemed judges, in a region where we struggle to compete on the global market, e-commerce and online marketplaces are not effective tools for empowering small business and reducing poverty in the Caribbean, as it is combated with market saturation. Opponents, this makes it difficult for new or existing small businesses to find a foothold on the global market. Opponents, in a saturated market such as e-commerce and online marketplaces, opportunities for growth and expansion become scarce. Opponents, is this the defect you are referring to? Tools that stifle economic growth and empowerment? According to an article published by Global Tech Inc., stated that after a study conducted in Canada showed that the increasing number of businesses that use tech platforms resulted in a volatile and intensely competitive landscape. This resulted in over 5,000 small businesses failing after its first years and existing small businesses failing within 2 years of adoption. Esteemed judges, think for a moment. If these small businesses have been eradicated by the use of e-commerce and online marketplaces, then why should we in our region do the same manual expecting a different outcome? Opponents, this clearly shows that these tech platforms strain small businesses, but also leads to increased poverty rates. Esteemed judges, we should ask ourselves, as we move forward, should we do that with tools that enhance technological investments? I thank you.
Good afternoon to all. As the next runner in our relay, I'll further widen the gap by enhancing our key points and keeping our momentum strong, ensuring our team stay on course for success. Firstly, this strategy boosts job creation for many disabled people. There are many people in Grenada and in the Caribbean at large who sit home daily with the necessary qualities and capabilities in the market, but unfortunately are disabled. Imagine with me, judges, chairman, audience, all. If these persons who are put at a disadvantage to use their knowledge and expertise in order to work from home, this would immaculately alleviate poverty in the Caribbean. The World Bank has highlighted that the implementation of e-commerce can encourage local talent development. For example, in Guyana, e-commerce systems saw 15% of roles and jobs going to local workers. Why wouldn't we want this? Why wouldn't we want to empower and alleviate poverty in the Caribbean region? ponder upon this. By doing this, empowerment of small businesses would also occur. The fact of the matter is that small businesses need all the help they can get. The mere fact that the online marketplace can meet the center, that the Center Caribbean further expanding the potential at the businesses. By definition, effectively empowering them. Not only this, but this accompaniment of the reduction in poverty through growth of the small businesses is not to be ignored. This general empowerment of the businesses further incentivizes those in poverty and strengthens our prospects of starting a business or joining one. Judges, all, I urge you to not become indoctrinated and influenced by the fraudulent statements made by opponents. Worthy opponents, do you really intend to deny the effectivity of an online marketplace? Do you intend to ignore the business potential that accessing thousands of customers throughout the region effortlessly? To even consider indoctrinating the minds of the others in this wayward direction is simply preposterous. How are we to ignore the potential to grow businesses and reduce poverty? With my part of the race concluded, I will now hand the baton to my POI speakers. I rest my case.
Good afternoon, all. We stand here rigorously challenging the Moot. Be it resolved that the e-commerce and online marketplaces are effective tools for empowering small businesses and reducing poverty in the Caribbean. I stand here seeking to dazzle you while portraying my unassailable stance with the point of high initial costs. Take heed to my charm and try not to be flabbergasted. The startup costs with e-commerce and online marketplaces are prohibitively high for individuals with low-income communities. A prime example of this is found in Australia. The University of Sydney states 1 in 3 startups fail in their first year, and 2 by the 4th year, and by the 2nd year. The university also reports 97% of Australia's startups fail over a period of years. Box Advisory Services states the cost to register a company is $474 to $576. The need for investment often results in substantial financial strains, making it exceptionally difficult for owners to sustain their businesses and get out of the poverty circle. Expenses related to e-commerce and online marketplaces deters potential small business owners from pursuing online marketplaces. So I ask, why should e-commerce and marketplaces be deemed effective tools that should help empower the economies and small businesses and reduce poverty in the Caribbean, when the facts state it hinders empowering the small businesses and reducing poverty, destroying any forms of reduction in poverty and empowering small businesses? Allow me to enhance your knowledge to the point of skills gaps. A significant barrier is posed in the e-commerce and online marketplace is the lack of technical skill. Potential entrepreneurs have no necessary training or education to successfully navigate the tech landscape. An example of this is found in Jamaica. The growing interest in starting small businesses and getting out of the poverty is hindered due to the lack of quality tech education and training programs. The World Bank states that the total early stage startup businesses rate was 6.5% in 2021, which decreased from 9.5%. This resulted in underemployment and limited opportunities for those seeking to empower their small businesses. The hindrance of starting up businesses owners cannot empower small businesses, and poverty in the Caribbean when lacking the training to do so in the online market and e-commerce. Should we walk by faith, judges, or by sight? I thank you.
Worthy opponents, do you believe that the dissolution of small businesses can lead to increased poverty?
Oh, may you please repeat your question?
Would you say that the dissolution of small businesses can lead to increased poverty?
No, we won't agree with
So
that.
you're saying that if small businesses were to shut down, that will not lead to increased poverty?
Not directly, my worthy opponents.
How some other when those entrepreneurs and their employees will be out of jobs?
The opponent, there's other ways for persons to make income. So if your business fails, there's always something that you can fall back on.
Next question, my worthy opponent. My worthy opponents, do you believe that e-commerce and online marketplaces will benefit and empower all entrepreneurs?
All small business owners.
All small business owners, including those in marginalized communities. So what about those persons in rural areas who lack electricity, my worthy opponent?
My worthy opponent, if a business owner wants to go into e-commerce and market their products on the internet, they will access and acquire the tools needed to do so.
So that does
regardless
not,
of where
that
they
doesn't-
live.
that does not benefit and empower all entrepreneurs. Next question. My worthy opponents, do you believe that these digital platforms can be the sole driving force for persons desiring to become entrepreneurs?
It will not be a sole driving force, but we are seeing that it is an essential tool.
Next question, my worthy opponent. How do you plan to address the high initial cost of adapting these platforms?
My worthy opponent, there's no high initial cost that you claim it to be.
My worthy opponent, so you're saying that it is affordable for all entrepreneurs?
We're not saying that it's affordable, but if you plan to acquire something, there would be budgets put in place to do so.
Worthy
So it's
opponent,
not
but
at a
that does
detriment to
not-
the business owners.
But that does not create a pathway for persons in rural and marginalized communities. Next question.
If the University of Sydney states that 97% of e-commerce startups of the developed country of Australia fail, how is it effective for developing Caribbean countries when developing Caribbean countries lack the necessary skills and resources?
The opponent, the TVET program also offers reskilling and retraining programs, especially of people in rural areas, and they provide these programs for free.
My worthy
opponent, are you saying as a small business owner, it is a bad thing to access 1,000 customers at once or online?
We're not saying that it is a bad thing, my opponent. What we're saying is that it is not an effective tool for empowering small businesses and alleviating poverty in the Caribbean.
And you do realize that e-commerce systems and online marketplaces do allow small businesses to have thousands of customers online, thus increasing profit of the business?
While that may be true in some instances, my opponent, that also has been the result and the cause of many small businesses going out of business. As I stated in my speech, over 5,000 businesses in Canada were shut down because of the increased competitiveness of e-commerce and online marketplaces.
The question wasn't about competitiveness, it was about effectiveness.
I stated, my worthy opponent, that while in some instances what you stated might be true, however, it is crucial for us to consider the flip side of that, my worthy opponent.
Moving on. Wouldn't you agree that providing jobs in rural areas would and can alleviate poverty in the Caribbean?
Yes, you can, my worthy opponent.
Thank you. Do you acknowledge that there are disabled and impoverished people in Grenada and throughout the Caribbean?
Yes, my worthy opponent, we are aware of that.
So wouldn't you think that implementing e-commerce systems and online marketplaces would give these same people jobs?
No, my worthy opponent, due to the fact that they are in marginalized and rural communities, puts them at a disadvantage from other entrepreneurs, my worthy opponent.
But my worthy opponent, just because they are in marginalized communities does not mean that they don't have the necessary
So you're saying
skill
that-
set.
My worthy opponent, so you're saying that persons in marginalized communities have the same access and capabilities as regular entrepreneurs?
As of right now, no. But with the institution of e-commerce and online marketplaces, that access could be provided to them. Let us proceed to the next question, please. In your first speech, you stated that Caribbean markets aren't competitive. How do you pursue?
I never stated that, my worthy opponent.
Yes, you did. How do you propose that they become competitive globally, if not through the use of e-commerce and online marketplaces to access customers internationally?
My worthy opponent, don't you think that increasing market competitiveness would stifle small businesses?
My worthy opponent, that was not the question I asked you. I asked you,
Can
how
you-
do you propose that they become competitive, if not being able to access customers globally?
My worthy opponent, there are several ways that persons can do that, my worthy opponent.
Would you care to expand on one of those ways?
Can you repeat?
Good afternoon, all. I seek to effortlessly deconstruct the flimsy foundation of the proposition's arguments as I present the wrecking ball to their dilapidated rooftops. Your first speaker stated that investing in e-commerce will lead to economic growth, specifically mentioning that the agriculture sector will be improved. Opponents, the same impoverished people who cannot afford education, you expect them to have finances for technology? Don't you think that these businesses lack finances due to a lack of tangible resources to sell? What use is e-commerce to them then? These individuals should be given finances to bolster their material wealth, not finances to sell products that they lack, as this can never lead to their empowerment. Your second speaker spoke on the jobs created through e-commerce, diligently outlining the growth it will foster in small businesses, yet failed to realize that these jobs require adequate education to utilize. We teach these businesses to use these tools, but we neglect the costs associated with these created jobs. All of this assumes that the initial financial cost is low, which it is not. It is far too high for these small businesses and impoverished people to afford. How is this empowering small businesses and reducing poverty if the same businesses you aim to help cannot use it? Devices, electricity, education, reskilling. Do you really think that these marginalized people can afford all of this? I think not. With the building of false truth toned down, the land is ready to be sold once more, as my team and I resolutely state that we oppose the Moot. Thank you.
We must shift our emphasis from economic efficiency to life efficiency. This was said by Kofi Annan, human rights activist. The first speaker of the opposition has stated that e-commerce and online marketplaces are not effective tools for empowering small businesses and reducing poverty in the Caribbean. I ask if you were the opponents, do you have no heart? Imagine with me were the opponents, the impoverished that can be taken off the streets, that can become delivery men and women, packagers, and even more jobs that will not only facilitate for the empowerment of small businesses, but also the reduction of poverty at the same time. This is even commemorated by the fact that, as taken from www.caricom.com, the creation of jobs that require little to no expertise can heavily reduce poverty throughout the Caribbean. This study was taken in Grenada, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the Caribbean Community and Common Market. The first speaker of the opposition had also described e-commerce and online marketplaces as tools that, and I quote, stifle small businesses and increase poverty. This, honorable judges and audience, is an uneducated and completely false statement. This was followed with no sources, therefore no plausible statistics. To counter this further, the Inter-American Development Bank says that investing 10% of a business's budget would increase economic growth for such businesses by 2 to 3%, as stated by my first speaker. The second speaker of the opposition had also given lots of facts and statistics, but had given zero sources to corroborate such. So by right, these statements can be deemed completely untrue. The second speaker of the opposition had also spoke about the lack of technical skills, this of which I had said in earlier statements, and also my POY speakers as well, that this can be rectified with the TVET program. Thank you very much.
Grenada Boys Secondary School is our winner. Congratulations, team, on winning this match and moving on to the final round of the 2024 Grenlec debates. That was the final match of the semi-final round, and what a round it has been. Congrats to our two finalists, the St. Andrews Anglican Secondary School and Grenada Boys Secondary School. We remind you that our People's Choice Debater competition is now open and that you can help your favorite debater to win a fantastic prize. Simply visit Grenlec's Facebook and Instagram pages to vote. A special thank you to every team, all participants, and every member of the audience. do join us on the next episode of the 2024 Grenlec Debates for complete coverage of the finals.
The Grenlec Debates. Powered Bright Ideas.
The Grenlec Debates will be broadcast on MTV Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. and on Saturday at 6 p.m. and on GBN TV Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. and on Sunday at 4 p.m.
Tune in